For too long, American Indian tribes have faced a competitive disadvantage when litigating against powerful forces. With its American Indian law and policy practice, Robbins Kaplan, LLP, seeks to redefine excellence for high-stakes litigation in Indian country. They have worked hand in hand with tribes to implement the Tribal Law and Order Act, fighting against diminishment of tribal lands and natural resources, and improving public safety on reservations. The Robbins Kaplan American Indian Law and Policy Practice serves tribes and individuals on commercial, government investigations, agency and tribal boundary disputes, as well as personal injury. Founded and led by former United States Attorneys Brendan Johnson and Tim Purdon, their American Indian Law and Policy Practice exists to bring justice to tribal clients whose claims in the past have been dismissed or ignored due to their underdog status. If you or your tribe are facing legal issues, contact robinskaplan.com or call toll-free at 1-800-553-9910.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hello, and thank you for purchasing the EasyVec 7, a wonderful invention by Scabco. Just plug it in, boot it up, and get your vaccination right at home for only 9 payments of $9.99.
Don't listen to this idiot. Get your vaccine free and easy at your local clinic. Herd immunity is our best chance of beating this pandemic. #ProtectYourHerd. Brought to you by McGissey Communications and Minnesota Department of Health.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulio. A chance of flurries tonight, getting all the way down to 17 degrees for a low. Then on Thanksgiving Day, sunshine with a high of 26. Take a break from that holiday cooking by visiting one of our fabulous Eat Local Minnesota restaurants. Find the list of Eat Local Minnesota restaurant and food purveyors at eatlocalminnesota.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous. Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
A Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanjahare, which means distant thunder. My colonized name is Robert Pilot, and we discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Wild. They are celebrating Native American Heritage Day on Friday, November 26th at 2:30 when they host the Winnipeg Jets.
Wow, the Wild will wear special Native American heritage jerseys during warm-ups.
You could bid on those jerseys from November 26th through December 6th at wild.com/online auctions, and proceeds will go towards the Minnesota Wild Foundation.
T-shirt jerseys that feature Dakota Indian designs will be given away to the first 5,000 fans.
Purchase a special Native American Heritage Day ticket package with the portion of the ticket sales donated back to the Lower Failing Creek Project. Yeah. Log on to wild.com/theme packs to purchase.
That's awesome. We know Maggie Lorenz and her group at the
Failing Creek Project. Yep.
Yeah, that's so cool. So happy. We're winding down here. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. We won't be on. So, I mean, they took our land, so we're not celebrating. It's the beginning of genocide. But we will eat a vegan feast, Wendy.
Yes, I have a vegan beast in the refrigerator that I will be cooking tomorrow with all the fixins for Thanksgiving.
So, hey, without further ado, let's go to Ogama with the news.
Bonjour, Wanine, everybody. I'm Ogama Ganuikwe coming in for Native Roots Radio on this day before the Truce-giving holiday, I'm going to call it. I wanted to do some more national news today since our guests today are going to be able to talk a little bit of news on Minnesota, North Dakota, those kinds of things. I wanted to do a little bit more national news today. Out of Alabama, there are 7 tribes that are asking an Alabama university to return the remains of nearly 6,000 Native people who were excavated over the years from what was once the largest Native American settlement in North America. The Muskogee Nation, Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, and 5 other tribes have filed a petition under a federal law for the return of 5,982 human remains of our ancestors and funerary objects, which are now held by the University of Alabama at its Moundville Archaeological Park. The tribes are seeking the return so that the remains can be reburied with funerary objects. In Florida, big news for the Seminole tribe, as the Seminole tribe has now been granted greater control to exercise over its own lands. As the National Native American Heritage Month has wound down, President Joe Biden has signed S-108 into law as of Tuesday morning. This measure is going to ensure that the tribe can lease or transfer real estate without damaging the Indian Non-Intercourse Act, which is a colonial era statute that otherwise requires congressional approval for every single property transaction. S-108 was passed in the U.S. Senate on May 26th. The bill was approved unanimously by consent, meaning it was considered non-controversial, and no one objected to its passage by a voice vote. Biden referenced Senator Marco Rubio, Senator Rick Scott, and Representative Darren Soto, all of which are, of course, from Florida, as the sponsors of the new law. In Washington state, there is a chemical that is killing salmon, and that chemical is in our tires. Research published last year confirmed that the preservative known as 6-PPD interacts with ozone and kills the coho salmon, even in very low concentrations over a short amount of time. The study was completed by the Washington State University and conducted over a decade in partnership with the University of Washington at the Suquamish Tribe's Grover's Creek Hatchery. It is really rare for them to be able to pinpoint an exact chemical at fault, but the findings are a huge win for the collapse of the coho salmon throughout Puget Sound, and especially in the urban and developing area where roads and salmons intersect. The coho salmon populations are currently at an all-time low on the West Coast, having declined steadily since the 1980s, and at the same time, there's been an expansion of road systems into rural areas. The 6-PPD is an anti-ozonant, and it makes tires safer by preventing the rubber compounds from cracking and degrading. So when this chemical 6-PPD mixes with ozone, it becomes 6-PPD quinone and 6-PPDQ, and it's omnipresent in our roadways. So with every single rain, the untreated chemical washes into our streams, rivers, bays, and of course Puget Sound, which kills juvenile coho salmon as well as returning adults attempting to spawn. So not only has the stormwater runoff been proven to kill the salmon, it's also been shown to have sublethal effects on other fish, including reduced growth, heart defects, and pulmonary edema, which affects their ability to avoid predators, and can lead to poor survival. This problem demands immediate action and long-term commitment nationwide, and the first step is to remove 6-PPD at the source by identifying a harmless replacement to make tires safe. Unfortunately, this will take time, and it's not practical to replace every tire on the road, and there could be legacy impacts to deal with for at least 15 to 20 years for this. But In addition to leaving residual tire dust on the roads, used tires are also commonly recycled into products like chrome rubber fields and playgrounds, and this is also contributing to the problem. So there's definitely some things that need to happen with these chemical runoffs from roadways, definitely in Washington State to protect the salmon, but I'm sure that this is going to be something nationwide that's going to need to be addressed. In Canada, there's a First Nations community that has obtained data indicating that high levels of cancer-causing chemicals in its air are 44 times higher than considered safe, as reported by Global News on November 15th. The Aamjiwnaang Nation in Canada, in Ontario, is surrounded on all sides by petrochemical facilities, and members of the tribe have long suspected that their life in their chemical valley has exposed them to dangerous chemicals, and the data, which had been kept secret for many years, was disclosed by the Environmental Ministry following questions from Global News in Canada. The Aamjiwnaang people, are situated along the Michigan border of the U.S., and they believe that the government of Ontario has been disrespectful by withholding the data from them. Among the chemicals that were identified include benzene and 1,3-butadiene, which are known cancer-causing agents, as well as sulfur dioxide, which can cause respiratory problems. Couple of notes and other quick world news. Indigenous protests against Peru's state-owned oil company Petroperu has continued in the heart of the Peruvian Amazon's Laredo region over an oil pipeline that is blamed for bringing pollution. Reuters reported on this on November 17th, so as of about mid-November, we're getting news in from that. Protesters flared, and Petroperu evacuated workers from the region and called upon the indigenous people, the Saramuro indigenous people, to push for dialogue instead of continuing with the protests. But the Saramuro, who have battled against the pipeline for 4 decades, have now given the oil company, a 72-hour ultimatum to leave an oil facility. The oil pipeline is about 685 miles long and has been attacked several times over its operation in 4 decades, and indigenous communities blame it for polluting their environment. Also, south of the border, the people of Guatemala and eastern Guatemala, police have arrested 60 indigenous mine opponents in more than 40 raids, as reported on November 15th by Munga Bay. The Mayan indigenous people who opposed the mine say they were never consulted about the mine or its effects on their land's livelihood, and protested on the town's main road, blocking the way for miner vehicles. As a result, the government has now declared a 30-day state of emergency similar to martial law, as these protests are continuing to take place in Guatemala. As always, thank you to Indian Country Today, Indians.com, Reuters, and others who contributed information for this news. Back to you, Robert and Wendy, on Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake.
We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us. If you're hurting in your relationship or have been affected by sexual violence, you're not alone. Strong Hearts Native Helpline can help you through these difficult and uncertain times. Strong Hearts Helpline is a free 24/7 confidential domestic dating and sexual violence helpline for Native Americans. Help is available by calling 1-844-762-8483 or by clicking on the Chat Now icon on strongheartshelpline.org. This message is sponsored by the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
For too long, American Indian tribes have faced a competitive disadvantage when litigating against powerful forces. With its American Indian law and policy practice, Robbins Kaplan, LLP, seeks to redefine excellence for high-stakes litigation in Indian country. They have worked hand in hand with tribes to implement the Tribal Law and Order Act, fighting against diminishment of tribal lands and natural resources, and improving public safety on reservations. The Robbins Kaplan American Indian Law and Policy Practice serves tribes and individuals on commercial, government investigations, agency and tribal boundary disputes, as well as personal injury. Founded and led by former United States Attorneys Brendan Johnson and Tim Purdon, their American Indian Law and Policy Practice exists to bring justice to tribal clients whose claims in the past have been dismissed or ignored due to their underdog status. If you or your tribe are facing legal issues, contact robinskaplan.com or call toll-free at 1-800-553-9910.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm awake.
We are Halusa Nation.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Wild. They are celebrating Native American Heritage Day on Friday, November 26th at 2:30 when they host the Winnipeg Jets.
Hey, the Wild will wear special Native American heritage jerseys during the warm-ups.
You could bid on those jerseys from November 26th through December 6th at wild.com/online auctions. Proceeds will go towards the Minnesota Wild Foundation.
T-shirt jerseys that feature Dakota Indian designs will be given to the first 5,000 fans.
You could purchase a special Native American Heritage Day ticket package with a portion of the ticket sales donated back to the Lower Failing Creek Project. Log on to wild.com/theme packs to purchase.
All right. Wow, that was a mouthful. Hey, we have
ran out of breath.
North Dakota State Representative Ruth Buffalo on, and we are always really, really pleased to have Ruth on. And I don't know, Ruth, we're kind of checking in and see what's going on. How does your family celebrate what we like to call Thanksgiving here at the Pilot residence? But I know it's a great time to get family together and celebrate our families. So welcome again, Ruth.
Yes, thank you. I'm not sure if you can hear me okay.
Hear you well.
Okay,
Good.
awesome. Yeah, thanks for the invite. It's always good to be in this virtual space with you. How my family celebrates this time of year is we take advantage of the time to allowed to get together. Our kids don't have school tomorrow and Friday, and so we're actually on the western side of the state at my mom's house in Mandaree. And so that's one sure way that we celebrate, is just trying to find time to get together, especially during the pandemic. It's been a challenge. We don't get to come out west as much as we'd like to. And then to that end, I also want to say that we know fully that COVID is still on the rise, and encouraging everybody to take safety precautions, get COVID testing when you can, take advantage of the vaccines. I mentioned last week I got the booster, and our 7-year-old twins, they got their first dose of the vaccine. So we know there's a few events that were canceled out here in Fort Berthold due to the COVID numbers increasing. So.
Well, they have a parade I was in years ago in New York City, and I know it's the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day parade, and this year there are no people under 18 that are allowed in the parade, so on floats and things like that. So it looks like New York City's taking it really seriously. Here in Minnesota, we're number one finally in something, and it's COVID outbreaks, Wendy and Ruth.
Yeah, exactly. Not the best thing to be number one at.
Right. So
Right.
how's it faring in North Dakota?
We still have at least, I think we're barely at a 53% overall vaccination rate. We're also leading across the country in terms of outbreaks and COVID continuing to increase. I mentioned at the town hall last Friday regarding COVID that here locally within the Mandan Hidatsa Nirkra headquarters, there's still an increase, and also a big push to get more young people vaccinated. And so it's such a huge sense of urgency when we think of the grandparents, and some individuals who are elderly were only able to get the first dose because and we're not able to get the second dose and the booster based off of their current health condition. because of the reaction they received during the first dose. And so we know many people close to us who are in that situation. So we are taking extreme extra precautions to make sure that they're protected.
Is it easily able to get the vaccine in North Dakota? Because I was listening to a national radio show, and there were some people that were not able to because of the hours they work and things like that. Is how easy it is in North Dakota to get the vaccine?
I would say that it's readily available. There's different websites really directing people to the state of North Dakota's website or nd.gov for more information, but they're definitely making accommodations to especially reach our working families. We have such a huge worker shortage within North Dakota and across the region. So there's great concern there to make sure that our frontline workers are protected, especially our working families. It's so important. But there again, there's also other challenges, with childcare and access to childcare and assistance when it's needed. So yeah, lots of moving parts there in terms of the worker shortage.
Wow, yeah. Ruth, I wanted to ask you before, I forgot last week to ask you if you could give us your website, because I know here at Native Roots Radio, we're revving up to support our Native politicians. And I'm wondering if you have because we're all over Turtle Island now, and we have a big audience, and be great for people to give to your campaign. Do you have anything that your Facebook or a website?
Yeah, my Facebook is, if you just do a search on Facebook, it's Representative Ruth Buffalo. And then there's a pinned post on there. As soon as you scroll down, it's the Act Blue link. I do have a website. It's Ruth4ND, Ruth and then the number 4ND.com. Haven't updated it yet, but for real-time updates, Facebook, the Representative Ruth Buffalo page. Also on Instagram and Twitter at Ruth4ND.
Ruth, we have a new audience. We have Chicago and Madison, and also Upper Peninsula of Wisconsin and Michigan. I'm wondering in the last 4 minutes here, if you could just give your quick story, because I think it's so compelling, and I love telling politicians your story when it comes to like losing your first election and keep going. Do you mind telling a little history of yourself?
Sure. Well, I'm a citizen of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation, originally from Mandaree, currently serving in my first 4-year term in the North Dakota State House of Representatives, proudly serving District 27. I first ran for office in I was going to say 2016 as insurance commissioner. It was my first time running, period, and it just so happened to be a statewide race. Did not win, but was left very motivated and inspired by the first-time voters that came out, especially within my immediate family. I had a lot of older first cousins that came out and voted. Typically, we have everybody votes in our tribal elections. MHA, even if you live off the res, you can still vote in the tribal elections as long as you show up to vote. But so yeah, it was a really big learning curve my first time running in 2016, but was so inspired by the amount of people who shared they felt heard and that they were so excited to meet a candidate. And so I stayed involved with our state party, ran for party chair, was encouraged by a young group of people in Fargo who wanted me to run for chair, which was tough because I respected the chair at the time. We were actually friends, but so I did throw my name in the hat for chair at that time, and then ended up getting secretary. Was a few votes off from going into a runoff vote for chair, but then accepted the secretary position. That was a 2-year term. Was able to bring more people into the party. In our state reorganization meeting, we had all Native candidates for the executive committee. 2 got in, secretary and treasurer. And so currently right now we have a treasurer who is from Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa, And I'm also the DNC committee woman for North Dakota, and that's a 4-year term. And so ran for office in 2018 for District 27. I won. We have 3 precincts. I led in Precinct 1 and Precinct 2. I live in Precinct 3, and so with redistricting, Precinct 1 and Precinct 2 have been carved out of my district and will now be their own new district, District 10. And I'm left in Precinct 3, and we stretch further down, picking up 2 rural communities, Oxbow and Horace. So it'll definitely be an interesting uphill climb. It'll be tough, but tougher than before as well. So.
Well, what I really like about your story too is that you lost your first election, and I tell a lot of our native warriors that are running your story that, you know, get back up and run again. And I think it's important to hear that, because a lot of people, like I'm a Bernie guy, and Bernie lost his first couple elections too, and I don't know, just get back up and do it. I just really appreciate that. Also, really appreciate you spending some time with us. We got a minute left here. I just want to say prayers to your family and keep safe. And I'm really so happy that you stopped in and said hello to us and everyone in Turtle Island.
Yeah, I appreciate the support. I know there's a lot of different events happening. Joan Roach, she is one of the lead organizers for an event happening this Saturday, November 27th in Rapid City, regarding free Peltier now. And so just wanted to put a quick plug in there. It's people standing together, November 27th. They have a lot of different performers, networking and strategizing, meeting 9 to 4 p.m. in Rapid City. But reach out to Jean at 605-415-3127 for more information.
Peony Gigi, thank you. And we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you for stopping in.
Thank you. Mazagadodz.
We'll be right back. Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
Hamidakiapi, Ruben Amakiapi, Gamaza Adidi Hemie. I'm Ruben, and I'm a recording artist. COVID cases are still high in Indian country. Even if you're a younger person, you're still at risk for getting COVID or spreading it to friends, family, elders, teachers, and classmates. Right now, anyone over the age of 12 is eligible for a COVID vaccine. The vaccines will protect you from severe illness and make it much less likely that you'll spread COVID to others. Plus, there's more great reasons to get vaccinated. All Minnesota teens between ages of 12 to 17 that completed their 2-dose vaccine series in 2021 are eligible to enter a drawing for a $100,000 college scholarship. And if you get vaccinated before November 30th, you're eligible to receive a $200 Visa gift card. So protect yourself and others by getting vaccinated. You may even win some cash or a college scholarship. Find a vaccination site by calling 651-304-9986 or visit vaccineconnector.mn.gov. Get vaccinated and don't miss this great opportunity for a college scholarship. 651-304-9986 or visit vaccineconnector.mn.gov.
For too long, American Indian tribes have faced a competitive disadvantage when litigating against powerful forces. With its American Indian law and policy practice, Robbins Kaplan, LLP, seeks to redefine excellence for high-stakes litigation in Indian country. They have worked hand in hand with tribes to implement the Tribal Law and Order Act, fighting against diminishment of tribal lands and natural resources, and improving public safety on reservations. The Robbins Kaplan American Indian Law and Policy Practice serves tribes and individuals on commercial, government investigations, agency and tribal boundary disputes, as well as personal injury. Founded and led by former United States Attorneys Brendan Johnson and Tim Purdon, their American Indian Law and Policy Practice exists to bring justice to tribal clients whose claims in the past have been dismissed or ignored due to their underdog status. If you or your tribe are facing legal issues, contact robinskaplan.com or call toll-free at 1-800-553-9910.
Hi, Minnesota. This is David Packman, and you can catch my show weeknights for an in-depth look at politics and current events on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Spruce up your home with non-toxic vegan candles from Wisco Home Goods. I'm Don, one of the owners of this family-owned Midwestern business in Madison, Wisconsin. Our candles are 100% sustainable and come in a variety of unique blends and scents that make a perfect holiday gift. Plus, at Wisco Home Goods, we believe in giving back. With our Do Good, Smell Good campaign, a portion of the proceeds go to local charities. So support a Midwestern company that supports our local communities. Order now at wiscohomegoods.com.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. A chance of flurries tonight, getting all the way down to 17 degrees for a low. Then on Thanksgiving Day, sunshine with a high of 26. Take a break from that holiday cooking by visiting one of our fabulous Eat Local Minnesota restaurants. Find the list of Eat Local Minnesota restaurants and food purveyors at eatlocalminnesota.com.
Bonjour, I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Wild. They're celebrating Native American Heritage Day on Friday, November 26th at 2:30 when they host the Winnipeg Jets.
Hey, the Wild will wear special Native American heritage jerseys during the warm-ups.
And you could bid on those jerseys from November 26th through December 6th at wild.com/online auctions. Proceeds will go towards the Minnesota Wild Foundation.
T-shirt jerseys that feature Dakota Indian design will be given to the first 5,000 fans.
Purchase a special Native American Heritage Day ticket package with a portion of the ticket sales donated back to the Lower Failing Creek Project. Log on to wild.com/theme packs to purchase.
Wow, that's great. I think I'll take Bob Blake from Red Lake to the hockey game with me.
There you go.
hey, we got a what do you call a Stanley Cupper from Red Lake? TJ Oshie.
That's right.
He's half Red Laker. So he what do you win the Stanley Cup and the gold medal here a couple years ago or whatever for the Washington Capitals? So
yeah.
Yep.
A lot of great Native hockey players over the years. And hey, this is Robert Blake with the Solar News with Solar Bear with the Solar News. Welcome and happy Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, man, happy holidays, everyone. I mean, whatever you do, you do. But hey, those jerseys look really cool. I want to get me one of those, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go to the game.
You could bid on them, those jerseys from November 26th through December 6th at wild.com/online auctions.
Wow, good segue. You guys are pros. You and Wendy, Bob are pros here at this radio jam.
And Robert, I mean, then it goes to Laura Phelan, to our friend Maggie Lorenz. Maggie was my student advisor during school or college.
Huh?
Yeah,
and she also worked with me in high school. She was a liaison to our Native American kids for a couple of years at the high school I worked at before I retired.
Yeah, that's Auntie Maggie. I think we should call her Auntie Maggie. She does great work in the community. So I think that's awesome. Like support that. Support that. I mean, and then you might get a jersey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The first 5,000 fans will get one.
Well, I might be texting her after this radio broadcast. Now that you mention it, Bob.
I think you're gonna have to see if you could score one. I'm sure the Wild got to give the program some jerseys.
Well, we got some tickets, so that's cool.
Oh, cool! Are you going to the game?
Yeah, you're my date.
Nice. So, hey, so I'll be on WCCO tonight, Robert, on channel 10 News. Yeah. So
Wow.
if everyone can,
I was
What
on
was it?
I was on Channel 4 and Channel 5 with the opening of our store, so
Oh, that's right. How did that go?
it's going really well. Come on down and get a autograph Winona LaDuke book or a Resist hoodie or some art or what else,
Some
Wendy?
jewelry. We have some scarves that would look very nice on you, and we have wonderful scented candles.
And we have definitely wild rice coming in tonight, so we're going to be just mashing it up tomorrow for not tomorrow, but Friday for Black Friday.
Supposed to be going. I think I'm supposed to be going to the concert with Winona on Monday. I think it is to the Jackson Brown concert.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson Brown
Where is that?
joins James Taylor in St. Paul on the 29th.
Well,
Yeah.
why haven't I? Do I need to call Winona too after this?
You know what, the Winona? She got all the hookups. She's got all the connects.
That's right.
That's okay, Robert. Don't have FOMO. And for you guys out there who don't know what FOMO is, it's fear of missing out.
I have FOMO, Bob.
Oh, FOMO. Schmomo.
That's right. What I'll do is I'll go to the Wild game, get one of those jerseys, and then wear it to the Jackson Brown concert.
Yeah, there you go. Then you'll be like, you won't have FOMO, schmomo. Yeah,
that's right.
Hey. So, okay. So I've been.
Wait, I cut into what you said, Bob. You're going to be on Channel 4 WCCO television tonight
10
at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that thing. Yeah, that thing. Yep, exactly. I'm going to be on WCCO tonight, talking about the intertribal electric vehicle charging network. So that's going to air tonight on the WCCO 10 o'clock news.
Perfect. We'll tune in.
Yep.
Yeah. So speaking of electric vehicle charging, Alaska is now working on their first electric vehicle charging corridor. Nice. How about that? I mean, it gets cold up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, definitely.
Cold and hot.
And I think Robert, I think what this is going to do is this is going to kind of introduce those communities that, maybe were a little bit hesitant or maybe a little bit kind of, unsure about this new technology and renewable energy. I'm kind of hoping that when they actually see it and they're able to use it or they're seeing it in action, that they'll be less inclined to be against it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you talk, we always talk union jobs too, and, we had these pipelines here and only a small percentage of the people were union and they weren't from Minnesota.
And people are afraid of the unknown, so it's just normal to be afraid of the unknown. But once you find out about it and learn about it and use it, then you feel better. So,
yeah, absolutely. And here's another great story, Robert. In South Australia, rooftop solar sent the South Australia grid to zero demand. The world first. This is the first time this has ever happened in the world. Wow. That rooftop solar helped send the grid to zero demand. So meaning that there was no demand for coal or any fossil fuel to be a part of the electricity demand in all of South Australia. Isn't that incredible?
That is incredible.
And they could do it, everyone could do it.
And I can't wait until Solar Bear works with My Nation too. Where the legislators are really excited about you coming aboard and showing us the way. So
I'm excited. I'm excited, Robert. That's going to be so much fun.
Definitely.
And like I said, I mean, this technology, I mean, this is incredible. This story is incredible here out of South Australia because, it's really going to, put these utilities on notice because, after this test case here, I mean, it clearly shows that we can get our energy needs from renewable energy resources. And now here's the other thing too, Robert. We're going to need storage. We're going to need batteries, right? And they're currently working on some incredible technologies right now that we're going to be able to use the battery technology to store upwards of 24 hours to 48 hours, because that's kind of like where we need, right? We need about that much to basically, in case the grid goes down. So that's going to be really exciting.
Well, and we kind of just glossed over that for a second, but how many times in the last 2 years has the grid gone down in different big major cities, whether it's overuse of energy or fires and things like that, Bob?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's why, you just see so many people like getting on the renewable energy train. You know what I mean? And because they know that, the weather is getting a lot more, unpredictable, so to speak, right? And these tornadoes and this flooding and, these other natural disasters are really taking out our grid, the reliability of our grid that we used to have. And, so, a lot of people are going into storage, solar plus storage. And not to mention, Robert, the F-150 can actually be used to power your home. I mean, this is where electric vehicles are coming in now. I mean, this is unbelievable.
So instead of plugging the F-150 into the house, you plug the house into the F-150.
Absolutely. And if you think about, those places that are going to have like 120-degree weather, and say and I'm thinking about like Alabama and some of those places where they get those tornadoes that like, 20, 80 tornadoes a night or something, you know what I mean? You can drive in a fleet of F-150s in there and keep the homes on for a couple of days.
Yep, exactly. And that's what we need, especially with that humid, people older, air conditioning and all that stuff. We got about a minute and a half yet, Bob. Do you got another story before we let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ford is, speaking of Ford, great segue here. Ford is going to partner with a chip maker, Robert, because they had a hard time sourcing chips for their vehicles. So they're going to start making chips right here in the United States. Now that means jobs, but that also means, right, the security of knowing that, you're not reliant on overseas chip makers anymore. And so Ford, I would highly recommend, and I am in no way a financial expert, but this sounds like something that people need to look into if they're going to invest into electric vehicles and something for the future, because I think Ford's going to be around now forever with this move.
That's right. When I was a kid, my dad was a Ford guy, and I always gave him a hard time. It stood for fix or repair daily, and I was a Chevy guy back in the 70s, and he was like, well, I can't tell you what he said about Chevys. But Robert, thank you so much for stopping in and all the work you're doing. Robert Blake's going to be on WCCO TV here
tonight at 10 p.m.
And you can also probably see it on their website after it's broadcast. So stop in there and see Bob talk his magic to all the people about solar and what's coming. Again, happy holidays, Robert. Thank you so much for all you do and coming on every week.
We'll see you next
week. Happy holidays.
All right. Hey, wow, Wendy. We love Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, some more trivia here.
We got some animal trivia, so stay tuned for some fun facts.
This is Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake.
Stay with us.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Aho, relatives. My name is George McCauley, Omaha Nation. I'm a citizen of the Omaha Nation in Nebraska. As we head into wintertime, many of us will be back together indoors. It's important to make sure you receive your COVID booster shot. Older Americans are more at risk for complications for COVID-19. All 3 COVID vaccine boosters have been approved. Find a vaccine site by calling 651-304-9986 or go to vaccineconnector.mn.gov.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Wild, and they are celebrating Native American Heritage Day on Friday, November 26th at 2:30 when they host the Winnipeg Jets.
Hey, the Wild will wear special Native American heritage jerseys during the warm-ups.
You can bid on those jerseys from November 26th through December 6th at wild.com/online auctions. Proceeds will go towards the Minnesota Wild Foundation.
T-shirt jersey that's featured Dakota Indian design will be given to the first 5,000 fans, Wendy.
You can purchase a special Native American Heritage Day ticket package with a portion of the ticket sales donated back to the Lower Failing Creek Project. Log on to wild.com/theme packs to purchase.
Yeah, wow.
Awesome.
Excited. Hey, we're winding up here, Wendy.
Winding down here.
Yeah,
Or
well, I'm
we're
winding up.
You're winding up?
Yeah,
I'm
whoa.
winding down.
Yeah. Hey, great job on the store. We've been open since Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been busy every day. So
Been really great.
stop
Yeah.
on down there. And also,
Mhm.
we're looking for wholesalers if there's anybody that's beating up stuff, because
That's
we're
native
selling a lot of native centric art
Yes, we are.
from our artists. So
So Native Roots Trading Post, 700 Nicollet Mall. It's in the first floor of the Dayton's building. Come on down.
yeah, definitely.
Monday
Hey,
through Friday. Oh, no, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6, and Sunday from 12 to 5.
big Black Friday sale. I think we're gonna put $50 off those Teton blankets.
Yeah, they have nice blankets.
All right. Hey,
Yeah.
so that's like I'm winding up and you're winding down. Why don't we talk a little more trivia here to end the week
Mhm.
here
Yeah.
for live broadcasts?
Absolutely. I love to do animal trivia. I always put these in my back pocket for fun days like this. So it's a day before a holiday, so we'll break it out of the back pocket, and here we go. Did you know, Robert, that squirrels adopt other babies if they're orphaned?
Wow.
Yeah. Who knew that squirrels were such caring animals? Squirrels are very devoted to one another and are always looking out for their own kind. Adult squirrels will even adopt baby squirrels who have been orphaned and take care of them. This usually happens when the adult squirrel was close to a deceased mother or is a relative of the orphaned baby. And a few years ago, we had a couple of orphaned babies. They fell out of their nest and they were down on the bottom of the tree. And I'll tell you, no squirrel came to get those two babies. So, I read the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center advice about what to do with these squirrels. And I brought them in. Do you remember that, Robert? I had those little baby
Yeah.
squirrels. They were so cute. But they're
Two of them.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
two of them. Yep. One I found one day, and a couple of days later, the other one. But they cried and cried and cried for hours and hours, and nobody came to get them. But It was recommended to give them some Pedialyte, which is like an electrolyte type of solution, so they don't get dehydrated. So,
Like Gatorade.
yeah, well, not
No, I'm kidding.
unflavored, unflavored. They didn't.
But you
need
put them in
whatever
a
they-
box to see if they'd come get them, and
Mhm.
gave them some of that, and they didn't. So then you took them to.
The Minnesota Wildlife Rehabilitation Center in Roseville. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're a great organization. So the oldest tortoise in the world. Guess
Yeah.
how old the oldest tortoise is?
I thought it was like 180 years old. Is that true?
188. Yeah, you're close.
Yeah.
Tortoises usually have a very long lifespan, and most will live for at least 80 years.
Wow.
The oldest tortoise in the world is Jonathan, the Seychelles giant tortoise. Jonathan was born in 1832 and is
Wow.
still alive today, making him 188 years old. The giant tortoise lives on a remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic. Isn't that unbelievable?
Well, that in 1832, that's our 9th or 10th president.
Wow.
Think about that.
Jonathan the tortoise was born then. That's amazing.
Wow. If he could speak and tell his story.
Yeah, I'd love to hear his stories, right? Finally, the Beatles song Octopus's Garden finally makes sense. It seems like the eight-legged creatures have somewhat of a green thumb. Octopuses make gardens for themselves outside their homes. They do this by collecting pretty rocks and shiny objects and arranging them in patterns in the sand. I didn't know that. By the way, that documentary that we saw, that was awesome. My Octopus Teacher.
Yeah.
Everybody watch that. It's on Netflix.
Academy Award
Love
winning.
it. Love it. Love it.
Hey, Family Soup TV says that tortoise will never die.
Well, I hope not.
That's crazy.
Baby elephants suck their thumbs. Elephants are extremely emotional animals and, like humans, have certain coping mechanisms to comfort themselves. Just like infant humans suck on their thumbs or a pacifier for comfort, baby elephants suck on their trunks in the same way. Like humans, elephants eventually stop this habit as they grow older. There's a cute little picture here of a little baby elephant sucking in his trunk.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that cute? You know what? Cats are lactose intolerant.
Wow.
We have to remember this.
They're more than that. I'll just say that.
People who love animals may think they're doing good by leaving out a bowl of milk for stray cats to feast on, but they may actually be doing more harm than good. Most cats happen to be lactose intolerant and have a very special, very difficult time digesting milk. So the next time you want to do something nice for your neighborhood cats, leave them some cat food instead. No milk. Yeah.
That's an old cartoon with the milk and all that. That's just, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's just, yeah, whatever. We grow up learning like cats like milk. Like, I remember growing up, cats like milk. They drink milk. Yeah, they drink the mother's milk, not a cow's milk.
Tuna sandwich.
Tuna sandwich. Newborn koalas are the size of a jelly bean. Could you imagine?
No wonder it takes forever for them. I mean, that there's a shortage of them.
There's a shortage of koalas. I think that there might be, but I'm not sure about that. This fact is absolutely adorable. When a baby koala is born, it is about the size of a large jelly bean and weighs less than half a pound. Newborn koalas, also known as pinkies, cannot see or hear, but they can already climb trees. A full-grown adult koala weighs roughly 10 to 20 pounds and can live to about 18 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, koalas live a long time. I really like koalas. They're very, very cute. Horses sleep while standing up. We've all heard of sleepwalkers and sleep talkers, but the sleeping habits of horses take strange to a whole new level. Horses frequently fall asleep while standing up. Horses have straight backs, which make it difficult for them to stand up quickly after lying down. Since running away quickly is imperative for evading predators, horses will take naps standing up so they can flee at a moment's notice. Chimpanzees and humans share 98% of their DNA.
Wow.
Chimpanzees are considered to be the human species' closest relative and are considered our cousins. However, we are much closer than you might have previously thought. In fact, we share 98.4% of our DNA with a chimpanzee. That is weird to know that we are so similar to chimps, yet our behavior is so different.
Well, I
But not for everybody.
I was telling this elder that's making me a ribbon shirt that I'm an extra large, but I have long monkey arms.
You do have long arms. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, Wendy, it looks like it's time to fiesta here.
It is time to fiesta. Everybody, safe weekend. Enjoy whatever you celebrate, and blessings to all.
Hey, I just want to say I'm really grateful for sobriety and for all the people that listen to our show, and of course our family, and even more, of course, Wendy. So I'm grateful for Wendy.
I'm grateful for you too, Robert.
Yeah, so that's something that we can be grateful for. And remember, please resist, divest to join a group and run for office. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and thanks for Bob Blake for stopping by with Solar Bear and State Representative Ruth Buffalo and Ogama with the news.
Free Leonard Peltier. Stop line 3. Please get vaccinated.
If you're someone that counts on AM 950 to bring you the latest in progressive politics, news, and talk, remember, we can't do it alone. Support